Well, welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm Perry Williams, and today I have Keegan, the coach of Hamilton Heights, with me. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you. Thanks for coming to visit us on such a warm, sunny day.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Snow outside looks great. Well, let's talk a little bit. We talked earlier in the season, and we talked about your team for this season, and so far from you're 5-4 now. Mm-hmm. 500 basketball, a little over 500, but you were kind of spot on the talent you had, and of course Curley leads the way for the team. So let's talk a little bit about that team.
Yeah, it's we've had what I think is a good start. We were that first game, our opener against Brownsburg, we struggled a little bit. We had some girls coming back from volleyball, didn't have all of our stuff in, and anytime a new coach and a first game this season without a scout, it kind of showed. So I'll take as much of the blame on that first one as anything. But you get past that Brownsburg game, we played Noblesville tough.
You really did. I'll tell you, that was that was a good game there. I mean, you guys played really tough, and Caitlin had a difficult time in that first game, but
she bounced
back pretty quick.
She did,
and that's what it's all about. I mean, you're going to have your days when you're off, but the ability to bounce back after that is what really counts.
And I think we learned something from that Brownsburg game too. And there's not a coach out there that wants to play their best basketball the first game of the season.
Absolutely not.
So it's continuing to build and continuing to get better. And she did bounce back. We let one get away at Pendleton, a very good Pendleton Heights basketball team. And then Northwestern, most recently, again played them competitively. Had opportunities, but in the end we just didn't have anything for their big girl underneath. But we're getting better. The girls still remain positive, super attitudes, and the second half of the season here coming up certainly doesn't get any easier.
Right, but and it's like we talked early on about this difficult schedule you play. I mean, Brownsburg's 4A, Noblesville's 4A. Pendleton Heights 4A,
mm-hmm.
Mount Vernon 3A.
Mount Vernon's 4A.
4A. Mm-hmm. So, you played a pretty tough, and everyone's talking about this Northwestern team. I mean, the talent that they have. Yeah. I mean, that's a great ball club, and this week, I guess you got Guerin Catholic coming up.
We do. We got Guerin. We expect every game we play. We expect a challenge. I mean, we're not at that point where we can just roll it out and expect to beat people. So we're going to prepare just like if we were playing Northwestern or Pendleton or any other 4A program. Like the first time we talked, our expectation is we play to a standard regardless of who we're playing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing about it too, you have a tournament. It's a East Central Holiday Shootout.
Yeah, over at East Central High School. We're going to take the girls over there and spend the night in Batesville, and looking forward to that, getting the girls away and bonding as a team. But it's certainly not going to be any easy road over there. I mean, we start out with Seymour first game. We had a chance to watch them at Heritage Christian the other night. Played them super tough. Had an opportunity late in that ball game to win. So that's going to be a huge challenge for us. East Central's over there, Rushville. So there's some really good ball clubs over there.
But the one good thing about that going on the road, and I've always been a firm believer in, the opportunity to stay overnight and that team bonding, and it's amazing how it works. Okay, and I've seen coaches do it in football, baseball, basketball, all in all sports, and it really brings your program together. Mm-hmm. And also you're playing at some different times. You're playing at a 2:30 and an 11.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah, we'll play early in the evening.
So that gets them kind of used to come tournament time and getting everything ready for that.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that you prepare for. And then you got Westfield at home. I know talking to Jenny Smith, of course, it's not the team she had last year, but they're playing 500 basketball, and they play a good schedule, and she'll have it ready. So, coming down this line here, and then I have a hard time all these years, and now you have this new conference of who's a conference team and who's not a conference team for you guys. So coming up is Western. Lewis Cass is in the
Lewis Cass, Western. Northwestern
Tipton is
on our
now.
side.
I know Tipton is now, which is I guess a perfect rivalry. It seems like I've been to a lot of Tipton Hamilton Heights games, and about the only thing you can say about it is they don't like each other. I mean, it just boils down to. I mean, I've been to a couple of Donnybrooks at the on a football field with Tipton and Heights, so it's kind of interesting. We talked a little bit about Kaylee. Let's talk about some of those other players because I think they've played some pretty good basketball, and of course the runner.
Oh yeah, Bailey. I continue to be super impressed with her play. We talked about her being a freshman, and she was going to have some growing pains, but I'm not sure those growing pains have been very severe.
Yeah,
so she's been really good. I'm not sure. Maybe she's been out of the ball game a combined 1 minute the entire season. I mean, she just had to do a lot of things for us, handle the ball. She's done a fantastic job getting us into our offense. Can't say enough positive things about her performance thus far.
Yeah, and let's face it, being around basketball like I have, and you've been, it's important to have a point guard. You don't realize how important it is until you take them away.
Oh yeah, right.
Because a good one will make you a tremendous difference in a ball game.
That's exactly right.
And those a lot of intangibles that you it's not in the stats book.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, like a player like Bailey being able to penetrate and then kick it out to outside to Kaylee and she puts up a shot. Those kind of things you just can't.
No,
you can't put in a scorebook.
You're right, and in her role is much like I think about playing for Coach Buck and running the point and at Pendleton. I always felt like is my job to sort of be an extension of him on the floor. And if there's one thing about Bailey, she is in tune with what we want as a coaching staff and what we're trying to get done on the floor. So in addition to her play, she's dialed in with us on the bench, and she's doing a great job.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. In fact, I heard a story about you the other day. Of course, your father told me about.
Is this where we edit?
Yeah. About your ability to get assists.
I was fortunate. I played with a lot of great players, and that could make shots and score. So it was just
it was easy for you. Yeah. You just get those two guys the ball down there, we'll be all right.
Right.
But that's sometimes that's the one thing. It's hard to find a good point guard that will do that. A lot of point guards, when you got a good one, they would rather pass first and then score. But those really good ones could score if need be. And that's the real. Now, what about Ashton? Her sister has had a pretty good season.
Yeah, too. Ashton's a kid you just love to be around. You love her spirit. You love her fight. She's got a super high motor. Sometimes we kind of have to dial her back a little bit, but take nothing away from her. I'd rather try to control a kid than have to push him. So she's been a great leader for us. Our only senior at the moment with Taylor being out. So she's done a good job, bringing the underclassmen along, and it's fun to see her and her sister go at it sometimes in practice.
Oh, I bet. Because we had that situation when we had the Herons, Brooke and Kaylee, and sometimes Coach Buckley would have to step between those two because they were going at it with each other. One was a freshman, one was a junior. So I know exactly how that goes. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Right.
What about some of your other players?
Yeah, I mean, Anna Collar, she's a girl that does everything that doesn't show up in the box score. But without her, we're certainly haven't had the success that we've had. I mean, she's a fighter. I told her the other day, I said, if we ever happen to get into a fight, I'm not fighting unless you go with me.
Yeah.
I mean, she is just a tough-nosed kid that, again, does all the things that don't get recognized in the paper. But if she's not doing them, we're not winning.
Absolutely. And then, of course, how's your JV doing? Because we're talking about a program, and you and I talked a little bit about your middle school players and stuff like that. All those things, no matter X's and O's and games during the season, but I know you're keeping very, very close eye on some of those younger players that develop, especially in this first year. It's a new learning experience for you.
Absolutely. A lot of things go into what makes a good JV team, and a lot of people immediately want to look at a record. Well, as you know, it's not about the JV,
especially in JV,
man, they're a lot of times they're the scout. They're getting the varsity prepared for the next game. So that being said, those kids they're getting better. They're listening. They remain positive in terms of their attitude and practice. and getting us ready for game day. So Coach Height's doing a great job with the JV team.
And the one thing about it, when we talk about that, and it happens a lot, especially when you have some younger players on the varsity, and you have your JV, people don't run like if Bailey wasn't so dang good, she'd be playing on the JV with that group, which would make them a much better team.
Oh, yeah.
So, you can't wins and losses in JV, I don't really pay that much attention to. I just like to watch the kids and see what kind of talent they have out there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I tell them all the time, if your goal is to be a JV player, then you need to find a new goal.
You're in the wrong place.
Right.
But the one thing about it is, and we always talk about this a lot, is potential. And if of course that may be an overused word sometimes, but if a kid's out there hustling, he's working hard in every practice, that's important. Because you never can tell. You and I, before we went on the air, was talking about Karma a little bit, and Amy Delk growing 3 or 4 inches. I mean, and that's made a huge difference in her ball game.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And so, you never know when those kids are going to hit that growth spurt and do those type of things.
Right.
So let's take a look at, we're 9 games in the season here. Still got another half to play here. But how do you feel as a team? You perform good and bad. I mean,
yeah, I think as we get into the second half of the season, the biggest thing that we're going to have to do is take care of the basketball. We got to value that thing a little more. I mean, if you look at our games early, we're in position to beat Pendleton. We're in position there late with Noblesville. Some of those, close ball games, and you look at our turnovers that we had in those contests, and it's just really hard to win when you're turning the ball over 20 plus times a game. But on the other side, that's a credit to the girls. They turned it over that many times and we're still in position to win. So one thing about it is we're guarding at a high level. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We're guarding. I think we're giving up averaging 35 points a game. So they're fighting and they're battling. We just got to value the basketball more here in the second half of the season.
Yeah, and I'm sure, some of these, this group, especially in Ashton's situation with coaches, getting used to different coaches every year and or every 2 years in that situation. So it's kind of a feeling out process between you and your team now, because you coming in here this first year and a totally different style that they're used to playing. And
there's no doubt about that. I mean, I learned more from Brian Hahn at Pendleton than probably any other coach that I've been around. And the biggest thing with Coach Hahn is it's thinking the game. You're mentally tougher, you're smarter than who you're playing. So these girls are doing things that probably they've never ever done before in their basketball careers. So mentally, we're trending in a good direction. They're starting to think the game, understand the game, and that's a continued work in progress. But like I said, they're getting better.
Yeah, and like you said, the mentally toughness and the thinking about the game. I mean, I grew up in an era. I'm a little bit older than Larry Bird, and no one worked harder, thought about the game, would think it through and everything than Larry Bird. But if you looked at his abilities, can he jump? No, he couldn't jump, and he wasn't quick. So all those things that bring you into an NBA, he really didn't have, except right in here, and the ability to think ahead and know where that ball, when that ball comes off that backboard or off that rim, where that ball is going to go to be in the right position to be there. And those are all kind of important things.
Oh, no doubt about it. And, we talk about Bailey, again, being, the point guard and extension of the coach and all those things. And some of those, sounds a little cliche, but I can promise you this, those great ones, they all share one thing, and that's they hate to lose more than they enjoy winning.
Absolutely.
And that's sort of the culture that we're trying to build here.
And the more, you're blessed to be able to have her for 4 years, that the more you and her will be able to communicate or not communicate, because she already knows what you want to have done.
Yeah, right. I haven't told her yet, but I'm not going to have to coach her senior year.
That's right. She'll just take over. Well, that sounds great. Well, Coach, thanks for taking time here today and talk. And I'll probably get back around sectional time, and
Great.
we'll talk about that sectional. I think you go to Tipton, is that
We
right?
go to Tipton, yes.
So that'll always be interesting, and that starts another season. So
It'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, we're coming up here at Christmas, and sectional starts January 31st.
Yeah.
So it's right around the corner
Yeah.
for girls basketball.
Sure is.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out. I know you're getting ready to practice, so
Yeah.
thank you very much, and I'll catch up with you around sectional
Yeah.
time.
Merry Christmas to you and everybody out there. Go Huskies.